You want some?
No.
You can skip the line, but don't skip the ad.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of
Don't skip the ad.
Oh man,
Jarrod,
I forgot to introduce ourselves. I got so excited, I forgot to introduce ourselves.
Okay.
I'm Jarrod, and this is Jenhan. We're both from Jarrod Agency.
Jarrod is losing his words because he is very excited for this episode.
Yeah.
And so am I.
Yeah, on this episode, we interviewed
Truly a tremendous person.
interesting character.
Yeah. Okay. There's no way to put this other than like a meteoric rise in the industry.
Yep.
Who is this guy? Who is this man?
Oh man, whoa, when you said that, bro, goosebumps just stood lah, dude. Okay, our next guest is Jaz Lee, ECD of Ogilvy, Malaysia.
And he's not even 30.
Yeah, he's not even 30.
He's not even 30.
Oh man. Okay, I had a blast talking to him.
Yep. So did I, and I think you will too,
Yeah.
listeners and also viewers, I guess.
Yep.
Because Jaz Lee does not pull any punches.
Yeah.
Jaz Lee speaks his mind, and he's just so fun to talk to. You know what? Let's give them a bit of a teaser. Jaz Lee not only is an ECD or one of the youngest and the most talented, used to be a state footballer.
Oh yes, dude.
How
yes.
does one achieve so much things before 30? If you want to find out, you got to listen to this episode. It's Jaz Lee,
ECD of Ogilvy, Malaysia on
Don't skip the ad.
Thanks, Jess. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking time off your shoot to come and do this podcast with us, man.
Jess literally just told us he came from a shoot and is going back to a shoot after this. We are very honored to have like one of the busiest men.
One of the busiest
in town.
ECDs
Thank you for having me.
Okay, Jess, so normally when we start, right, then we will start with basic stuff lah. So where you're from and what did your parents do?
Hi, my name's Jaz.
Hi Jaz.
So I am from Malaysia, but my mom's Bruneian. So half and half. I grew up in Melbourne. Parents kicked me to Melbourne at about 10 years old. And then did my high school all the way till about 17. Parents separated, went broke, dropped out of high school.
Yep.
Came back. I was a semi-professional footballer for Selangor.
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah. And then popped my knee, and then advertising began.
What?
Wait. Fuck advertising.
There's a lot to unpack.
Yeah,
There's a lot to unpack here.
Yes.
Okay. So you grew up in Malaysia. Then you are sent to Melbourne.
So
Right?
boarding school or
No, so my brothers went there for uni.
Okay.
So basically, while they were right?
Yeah.
While they were fucking around, I basically stayed at home. I stayed at home alone. So basically, I had my own place there and everything. I was just alone from 10 to about 17.
Okay.
So go to school, go to training, come back. Go to school, go to training, come back.
Wait, training.
Were you always,
Football, yeah.
were you
In
always
Melbourne?
like a sports?
Yeah, since I was young, I was a footballer.
Okay, so how many brothers and
I have two elder brothers.
Okay, and are they in advertising or
No, one is a do-gooder, is a therapist for autistic kids.
Oh, that's nice.
Another is a banker.
Okay, so a do-gooder lah.
Yeah.
You could have been a footballer right now.
I could have if I didn't pop all my fucking ligaments on my right knee. Yeah.
Wait, so Selangor state player.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so when you came back from Melbourne, right, must have been another like a big shift, right? Like, was it or you didn't mind because like it was just football or nothing at the time?
It was just football. Like, to be honest, I had no choice. I had to come back, right? Parents separated.
yeah.
So it was like, I was working odd jobs like Top Shop. And then after that, I was like an admin for like a law firm.
Yeah.
Fucking sold Maggi in Jasco and like weekends promote. So then other than that, it was just trainings, like going trainings.
Okay.
So it was
football there, training, football here,
yeah,
training.
football since I was 7.
Oh, nice.
That was practically my life. It was,
position do you play?
I was a right winger. I'm left-footed.
Okay.
But Ronaldo fan, not Messi fan.
Okay.
Ronaldo
Okay.
fans. Yep.
Okay. So I'm like, no,
Okay,
okay.
the whole thing is
anymore lah.
we've lost our train of thought. We've derailed this entirely. But okay, so your goal then, right, was you're gonna be like footballer, the best footballer in Malaysia, in the world, right? How did you make that leap from that sports world to like something like a creative industry like advertising? Were you always like
Wait,
No.
before that, what did your parents do? Were they
Yeah.
creative in any
my
way?
mom's a housewife, my dad's a businessman. So my dad semi-invented your phone screen protectors.
Wow.
So it was fucking good business, right? So I could go to Melbourne. Then obviously like everything just changed overnight. So, but it's interesting because if my ligaments didn't pop, I would have gone. I had a scholarship to MLS, which is Major League Soccer in America, and then they would have covered like Stanford University and everything. But everything just basically kind of went downhill from there.
Okay. So were you also an artistic person? Do you also like art at the same time?
Never.
Never?
I played 4 instruments. But that's because
Okay,
you're Chinese family. You know what I mean? You're young and your fucking mom just makes you violin,
Piano?
guitar, bass, drums.
I am not artistic, but I play 4 instruments.
And I was in the Slango football team.
Wait, so you played violin, piano?
No, violin, drums, guitar, bass, piano a little, but I wouldn't say I was good at it.
Okay.
So when you say 4, that means you're terror lah. This 4 is terror lah.
Yeah, 4 is terror.
You find time for all this, man.
This is school, so
Yeah, but you got to attend the football training.
no, my
You
mom,
gotta study.
Chinese parents, you find time.
You find time.
Yeah.
You make time. Okay, so that was the most like or like that was the most, for lack of a better word, like art thing you did as a child. Okay,
Couldn't
so
draw, couldn't do shit.
how did you, if you don't mind me asking, how did you pop your ligament? Like what happened? What game? Do you remember the game?
Yes, so fucking clear, right?
Yeah.
It was Mother's Day, and it was off season, so I was tied to a contract still, right? It was off season, and I was playing in a just social league. So, you know, weekends you're bored, you go in social league, you play with like a bunch of old people, or state players, just go and have fun, right?
Yeah.
So you don't think you need a warm up.
Okay.
So, fuck it, just go in lah. And then first touch of the ball, I think the first minute, ball came, I jumped and landed perfectly.
Yeah.
And the moment my knee sort of just landed, the whole thing snapped.
Oh.
But you don't feel the pain. And I think a couple of minutes later, the pain kicked in and it was... So I went to physio for a year.
Yeah.
Because it was like a partial tear. So they said you don't have to go for surgery. You just kind of physio.
Yeah.
A year later, they said, nah, there's no chance unless you snap your whole thing and you tie it back.
Oh.
Because you can't regrow your ligament, right?
How old were you then?
18?
18?
Or early 19 years old, yeah.
Okay, so what happens then to 19-year-old Jaz Lee who has just been told that, sorry, you can't
You can't
play
do this,
football anymore, yeah.
Those odd jobs that I did,
Yeah.
basically, dude, I don't even have a high school degree. I dropped out of high school. There isn't a lot of options, right? What do you do? So one day, I remember in my house in Cheras, before I got to work before I went to sell Maggi Mee, I remember on the weekends, right?
Yeah.
I was watching Mad Men.
Oh.
Fuck, that's where it all happened. After one episode, I wrote this cover letter to Leo Burnett with Eric Cruz back then.
Okay, yeah.
And what a brave letter. It was a cover letter about what's wrong with advertising today and what needs to happen in advertising.
Yeah.
And at the end, it was basically, thanks for reading. If you consider me, great. If you don't, it's fine.
Yeah.
And since then, my life changed. And that was it.
Why
Because
LB?
you watch Mad Men.
Yeah, on one episode.
You could have written to McCann Erickson.
Yeah.
But why
actually,
LB?
why
So
LB?
I googled best advertising agency in Malaysia, and Leo Burnett came out because
So
Yasmin
SEO
Ahmad.
works lah.
Exactly.
SEO works lah.
Exactly.
I have
Fucking buy SEO lah ni.
do you know, I don't know, Jarrod, you remember this or not? Like one of the first times like I worked with Jarrod while I was still a comedian, but we crossed path in the advertising world was a campaign, right?
Yeah. So this fucker went to the client straight and said, your campaign sucks. But not my campaign lah, or someone else's
Yeah,
campaign
well,
lah.
thankfully it
So
wasn't
happened,
yours.
I was the CD, after I just joined the agency, I was the CD on it. Then the client's like, Jarrod, this comedian fucker just gave me a proposal. He said, our campaign sucks. Can you go and see this fella? I said, fucker is this fella lah. From there.
No,
But did you guys know each other back then already?
we knew, but it was like my friend's boyfriend or my friend's husband. You know, like that's as much as we knew each other. But because it was a launch, I attended the event. It was like it's boring, right? So I thought, and I liked the product, right? So I thought like, hey, if only it could be this and this and this. So I paid like someone who was studying graphic design or something to make a deck, because all I know about the advertising industry is like you need to make a deck. Right? That's all I know. You need to make a deck,
We
right?
still make a lot of decks.
Until today, I still refuse. I don't know how to. So I paid this girl to help me make this deck. And it was like, client, this is what you've done. This is why I think it's wrong. And this is why I think it's bad. here's what you can do. And then I remember very clearly, they were like, why? Because they thought they were just meeting like a talent who wants to maybe be can you make me an influencer or something? So they were like, genuine question was like, why are you telling us this and why are you helping us? I very upfront say, because I need this amount of money to go to Melbourne to perform at the festival. So I'm looking for a job. And next thing I know, he calls me, Jarrod calls me. And I'm like, so sorry, man. I didn't mean to say
Hey,
anything.
but we see a lot of shit ads all the time. What made you decide that was the ad I'm gonna fix?
I think I went to the event and like I thought that it was very interesting product to me because it was not like heavy alcohol. It was fun drink.
Yeah.
It's a fun drink, and like I don't think there's any other fun drinks. For example, like there was Kampai, but that was only sold in like convenience stores, not much advertising, right? So this is like something you're trying to be loud. This is fun. I think you can do so much more fun things.
Was it good or not, the work?
We had fun. Actually, we had fun.
But the one you
Decent.
proposed,
Had
when
to
you first
tweak
saw it.
lah, had to tweak lah, because it doesn't fit. And then comedians, all you influencers, you come and propose stuff. Great, I love it, but it needs to tie into the brand lah. We are ad people at the end of the day. But anyway, it's a topic for a
At the
different
time,
day.
I didn't know. You know, it's like coming to you with like an execution, but no idea. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Because
Which
I
is-
didn't know. Yeah.
Which is
You
great.
trained, huh? You trained.
Anyway, back to you.
Yeah,
So,
yes.
Eric Cruz, you wrote that letter.
What happens?
What happened, man? Tell us.
Dude, 10 minutes they replied me. I think it was amazing. I think they replied me, they gave me some.
You wrote directly to Eric Cruz.
So I wrote directly to Eric Cruz, yes.
Yeah.
And I basically Googled, found his email. Then they replied me, and he replied me directly. And then after that, what happened was they made me do this it wasn't even a copy test. It was like they gave me 3 campaigns to run. And I said, okay, I'll get back to you in a week. And I didn't know back then, actually, that's quite fucking fast, right? It's child labor, right?
1
Like,
week.
Fuck me, man. So
19-year-old professional footballer. Here's 3 campaigns.
it was write a Chinese New Year spot,
Uh-huh.
come up with a campaign for Dutch Lady Milk,
Yeah.
and then a McDonald's radio campaign. Fuck, I didn't know what all these were, right? So, right lah. And then after that, sent it, and then they said, let's meet up. So I was supposed to meet them at Dome in KLCC. But I think Eric Cruz, his PA screwed up. So James, the CD back then, was waiting in Dome. But Eric wasn't there. Eric was in another cafe. So I go, well, where the fuck do I go?
Yeah.
So at the end, I went to see Eric, and I think Eric was sweet because the first thing he said to me was, don't be scared, you're hired.
Nice.
But then the other self-absorbed thing that he did was, let me show you what advertising is. Proceed to show me his portfolio.
Yeah.
Okay, now
And
this
I
is
asked
how
him-
it's really done.
Yeah, and then I asked him, so probably the dumbest question I've ever asked, which is this a part-time job or full-time?
Legit, no,
Yeah.
legit what? Legit.
Then the guy
I
tells
mean,
me,
legit now, but back then.
yeah, the guy tells me, it's kind of 24 hours. I said, okay, sounds great. And will I get paid? So yeah, I mean, that was it. That was first day of work, November 14. Yeah.
19-year-old Jaz Lee,
Yeah.
November 14.
I
Okay.
think back then you made the right call to meet up with Eric instead of James.
Yeah, I think so too, because one had hiring power.
And just for the listeners, you may be listening to this at a later date, but we are recording this on November 9. So next week would
Is
be your anniversary, right?
My 9th year.
Ninth.
Advertising.
9K
Advertising.
advertising.
Yeah.
What a-
Yeah, and listeners, you buckle in because it's going to be a whirlwind roller coaster ride. 9 years to Jaz Lee is a very different time frame than the rest of the world.
Yeah, 9 years. So much of amazing, unskippable ads he's done in 9 years. And let's talk about some of them.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Let's go.
Or shall we talk about football first a bit?
I think
Later we can jump back lah.
Look, if
just
Jaz Lee is
wrapping our head around football, man.
9 years, like I was saying, Jaz
Yeah.
Lee 9 years means like it would take us like 18 years
Yeah.
to finish.
Dude, honestly, when I was doing research on you and going through, and I was looking for your portfolio, right? And that's when you told me someone stole your domain. You want to share that a bit?
So it used to be the jazzlee.com.
Yeah.
And then I forgot to renew my domain.
Yeah.
I think I was like 1 day late. And then I get a mail saying, if you want your domain back, basically pay me a couple of thousands.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck you. So I go, now it's the jazzlee.co.
Yeah. And I highly encourage everyone. It's a phenomenal website.
Yeah. So when I went on it, I'm like, oh man, nice lah. Nice to see creatives putting effort in doing their portfolio and listing down everything, promoting themselves, doing that. It's really refreshing. I think that's
the
great.
Jaz Lee, THEJAZLEE.co.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, check it out.
Yeah. So, okay, anyway, back to, let's talk about,
Football. Have you done any campaign for football?
let's talk about the anti-bullying video. Oh, you want to tell the audience what's that all about?
Describe the campaign.
That
for
was one of the
listeners.
earlier ones at LB.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, it was kind of we see a lot of bullying videos being shared online, right? I think it's fucked up. Like amount of people just whacking each other. So I think it was Voice of the Children and Dr. Hartini who came to Leo Burnett and said, "Hey, could we do something about like a PSA to basically just educate people about bullying?" And I think traditionally we went down the route of like, let's do another guilt tripping ad, right? But then we said, actually, it's so many been done and people have been so like desensitized to basically PSAs, right? So since people love sort of sharing these bullying videos, so I think it was, what if we turned it into a medium instead, right? And it was organic, right? People love sharing it already and we have no media budget, no nothing. What if we just turned it into a medium to warn people about bullying? So what we did was we found like the most fucked up school bullying videos, right?
Yeah.
And we recreated like 3 of them. Except I think in this one, the guy or the girl that's being bullied takes the phone and basically tells people stop liking, stop sharing, actually do something, rather than just sit back and just share it because it does fuck all, right?
Yeah. It was very powerful because like the sequence, I mean like the recreation of the bullying was so visceral, like it's just, there's a special kind of pain watching like kids beat up other kids.
Yeah.
Right, and then in the middle of that, the victim takes the phone and goes, "What are you liking and sharing for?"
Yeah, it doesn't look like an ad. You know?
Yeah.
I think that was the original intention of it. Right? Well,
How did
long
it come? How did it come? Like, what did you have any other ideas before you landed on that?
We had one that I actually regret not doing, and I think this was after the case. If you guys know Navin, who so.
You want to share the case a bit to the audience?
So basically, a nutshell, a bunch of kids basically just bullied him, beat the hell out of him, and just sodomized him, and it was brutal.
Yeah.
But I think we had an idea that involved him, that everyone was on board. It started with inside where government and everyone, no one really talks about bullying until someone dies.
Yeah.
Right. And then for that 2-3 months, people talk about it, and then it dies off, and then nothing happens again.
Yeah.
So we were going to use artificial intelligence to bring him back to life, to basically warn people, only when I die do you actually care about it. Why not actually do something now? But I think at that point, it was a very insensitive idea, I think, for the parents and everything. So we took a step back. But then, I think just 2 years ago, I just saw an idea where they brought a journalist back to life using AI and to warn people. But that was the initial idea where UN was on board and everything. But I think we didn't even take it to the mom because I think we just threw it out. It was insensitive.
Yeah.
So we ended up with this. Yeah.
Which I think it's equally powerful. lah. It was, I don't know, got nothing to say. When I saw it, I was like, oh,
was that one of your first campaigns at Leo Burnett? Or?
No, I think it was like 2-3 years in already, I think.
Yeah.
Gold Lion? Picked
It
up a
was
gold lion?
bronze lion for film.
For film.
So I'll always say that I think there's only 2 film lions in this country, and one is Yasmin, and I hold the other one.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I'm happy with that achievement.
Nice. I think for the listeners out there, like, what is that secret, or what do you look for, or how do you arrive to an idea that's so powerful like that? Like, is there any tips and tricks for the young ones that's listening to it?
Can I jump in on that question? Like, so.
Or old ones?
Yes, I'm the oldest intern in the industry. So, from 19-year-old ex-professional footballer Jaz Lee, who just got the job, a full-time 24-hour job that's paid, right? 2-3 years later, you have a film lion, right? In that year, how did you 3 years? How did you learn, and like what was it that like helped you get there? Like,
Do you know, sports? I think being a footballer was the best thing that happened to me, and I think it works in advertising as well, because I came into Leo Burnett where you had such talented art directors, writers, and creatives, right? Who just went to ad school or they did been years and years in advertising. And I think could have never been more brilliant than them. I don't think I was as talented as them. I think that's the stance I went in, but I knew I could work harder than them. I remember staying in the office, I think 3 nights a week in my first year. And my ex-boss, James, he used to say, here's an A3 sheet of paper. He'll put boxes of 50 ideas. And he says, you don't go home until you fill all 50 with an idea, no matter how shit it is. And I think every day you do it, right? First day you finish at 3 in the morning. Second day, 1. Third day, it gets easier, you know? And I think after a week, 2 weeks, a month, months have passed, I was finishing it by 9 p.m. But what you realize was it was so easy for me to find 50 different ways to solve a problem, right?
Yep.
And that was ultimately the football mindset, right? You work hard. The more you work at it, the better you get. And I think that's something people don't see in our industry. I think fucking genius comes in like...
I mean, it's more the discipline of you continue to keep pushing. But you said 3 times a week you stayed back. So the next day you'll still be wearing the same clothes and
Correct. So I'll
be
sleep
working.
3, 4 in the morning. And then I'll try and make a trip home, shower, come back, and I'll be back at like 7 in the morning.
Wow.
It was also the first year I was really broke.
Were you partnered up with anyone in the first year?
I've never had any partners. So on
Until
briefs you would
today?
have art director.
Okay.
But I've never had like a proper partner you've been with throughout. But I think that's maybe controversial, but arguably the best thing that happened to me. I find that when teams come in partners, what happens is you suddenly can't brainstorm without your partner to bounce off with, and you become reliant on each other.
I think it's something interesting that you mentioned sports. Because sports, you work as a team and also individually. So I think that kind of helps.
It's a rigorous discipline.
Everyone has to bring something to the table.
But I think it's also ambitious. I mean, for you to, as a young person, to write to the best agency in town, you know, and to literally take the advice to do 50. You know?
But I was... Man,
I mean, not every young people.
and I did
want to do
Petronas.
that.
That was my first account, right? That was the dream account for anyone. So in a way, I think I was lucky. But my first day, I remember I asked dumb question. We got a printout brief. Said, so apparently we'll come up with a headline and a tagline. And I said, what's a headline? What's a tagline? So one's on top. So,
But true lah.
So after that, but it was, everyone just go, why are we putting an intern on the Petronas business? But then everyone was like, oh, it's kind of our new junior writer. So it was tough. I think I learned everything in a week.
What was needed? Was it a film? Was it a POS or print?
It was a pure print, newspaper print. But it was fucked up because it was a competition that Petronas had that had 1,000 names in the print ad for one double-page spread. 1,000 names that had to check FA.
Okay.
Welcome to advertising.
So when you won the film line for this, the anti-bullying video, which by the way we'll share on our Instagram and stuff, so people can go and watch it, right? And also, I guess viewer discretion is advised because if you can't stand violence, it is very real, it's very visceral kind of thing. What happens then? Like you won film line, like basically the intern that they use, like what's this intern doing here, has just like I got a film lion, right? How did that change things for you at the agency or like in your career?
To be honest, it didn't do much. And I'll say this because I think for me, I always knew, and Jarrod will know me because I've always been an arrogant fucker who always believes that I was going to be the best at something, right? And I wouldn't shy away from saying it no matter how arrogant that sounds because I think in a time when no one believes in you, you believe in yourself and you fucking damn well believe in it, right? And so I think at 21 when I won my first film line, I was already a good kid.
Can I add? I think let's not mistake arrogance for ambitious. Let's not. I think a lot of people mistake that lah. I mean, I see an ambitious dude. Right? I don't see an arrogant dude lah. Right? Sorry, carry on.
So you were 21, you won the film lion, right?
So I think I was already sort of making waves because I think before Film Line, we won quite a few regional awards already.
For that piece?
No, so Petronas, we had a few pieces. And I think by 21, I was a group head already. So it was already like kicking off.
2 years in?
Yeah, 2 years in, I was group head. Then a year, and 22, right after I won that, I think became ACD. So at 22 years old. And obviously 23 was a CD, and then and so on.
So
How old are you now, by the way?
I'm 28.
28.
28. Yeah,
And for the guys,
Yes.
it's 28.
so listeners, you see why I was saying that like 9 years of Jaz Lee, it works in a different time.
Not dog years, in advertising years.
Yeah.
Maybe it takes
No,
someone 18
basically
years,
it makes us outsiders look like we live in the dog years.
yeah.
So it's incredible, man. It's so inspirational. It really is. So okay, after that, then there's another piece of work that I really want to talk to you about, which is Gamers Asylum. You know, like because that was when I'm a gamer myself, right? So when I saw that, I think Jarrod showed me the case study, and I was like, wow, it's such a cool idea. Do you want to explain
Maybe
what that's like?
So Indonesia was facing obviously lockdown. No one was traveling.
Yeah.
And I think even when the borders opened, no one wanted to travel. No one wanted to go there, right? So obviously the cliche and the typical reasons to come and travel, whether it's discounts, promotions, or tourism sites, were not working. So I think the brief was how can we obviously, I think not just sort of get more people to travel, but also create a new base of customers, right? A new reason to travel.
Yeah.
So what we did was, one day I was watching the news, and I think it said China had banned gaming to basically 3 hours a week. And one of our creators said, fuck, that's an amazing reason to travel, right? So we said, okay, what you can't do in China, maybe you can do in Indonesia. So what we did was we basically turned our rooms into gaming rooms. We created an entirely new service, decked it up with the best computers, games loaded it all up.
Just for clarification, when you say our room, you mean the hotel rooms?
The hotel rooms, yeah.
Yeah,
we literally
client's
redesigned the
rooms,
hotel
so-
rooms into gaming rooms.
Yeah.
And we basically did a very targeted campaign to China for them to come and basically stay in our hotels for free gaming.
Brilliant.
I think it's amazing because it's like, who considers gaming as part of tourism?
Yeah.
You know, but when it's so
I mean, there's medical tourism.
Yep.
Why not gaming tourism? I mean,
So it just sparked on like, okay, China says you can only do this at certain hours of the
Yeah.
day.
So
Yeah,
then
that's where it started.
Yeah, and then I think one of the creators just went. I think one of our writers and our art directors, when it was from Ogilvy Singapore, and they said, "What if we did this?" And we said, "That's brilliant. Let's do that, right?" And it was a client that was obviously very open to creating a new service.
Yeah. But what is your role? You are based in Malaysia, right? So how did
So
you
Ogilvy
communicate?
Malaysia and Singapore basically work. I think over the last 2 years, they combined as basically kind of one borderless agency, or the borderless creativity they call it, right? So what
That's a
happens?
good name for an agency. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is your agency, right? So basically what happened was, I think when it comes to like, there's certain briefs that some of the chief creative officers in like Singapore or Malaysia will go, hey, maybe we work together on this. So I think that was one of the cases where we did work together. I think Cadbury was another one.
Yeah, and we'll definitely get to
definitely
that.
to that.
Wait, so you're talking about flex of generosity,
Yeah.
right? We will definitely get to that.
but there's one piece that also I remember seeing way back when. It's the Samsung Space launch.
So
And that's another unskippable one. You want to share with everyone?
So I remember the chief marketing officer of Samsung sort of called me while I was on the way to work and says, we've got this new phone that we knew we were working on, the brief and the campaign. It was the S10, the Galaxy S10. And I think she called and she said, fuck, Huawei's launching the equivalent the same week with bigger budget and they're going crazy. We've spoken to all the media guys that are buying a fuckload of media. What can we do? But she said, we know we have a better camera for a fact, right? So how can we prove it? All we need to do is prove it. So what we did, and there was this line that stuck that I think it was during a review, and it says, an out of this world phone deserves an out of this world launch. So we quite literally did that. We said, what if we launched this phone to space and in real time took photos, 4K photos of space, and on its way up and on its way down. And in real time, these photos are uploaded to a website where people could predict based on the photos and how clear they were, where it would land, and obviously you'd be the first 10 to win a phone.
It's amazing.
So you launched a balloon and
Yeah.
guess where it's gonna land?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
We
Based on
launched
that
10,
picture.
yeah.
Okay,
we launched
nice.
10, it was
And it was
painful.
all within budget.
It actually only cost us 60,000
Yeah.
to do 10 phones and everything else. It was surprisingly cheap. And I think that's actually a lesson that I learned since then. Like, I find that whenever we get a brief, the first thing we jump to is pay 200,000-300,000 for a film.
Yeah.
But you could achieve much better results by doing a non-ad which in this case was a space launch, right?
No, actually, when you describe to me also, that idea sounds big.
Yeah.
And a big budget and it sounds scary. You know, I have to say it's only 60K.
I mean, even for
That's a steal.
Even for today, right, where all the phones are like, oh, I can take picture of the moon. No, this phone is taking picture of the Earth.
Yeah.
Right at the time. What year was this?
This is 2019 or 18, I can't remember. Around there.
What I've noticed, based on the kind of work that you've been putting out, they are not ads. They're not print ads. They're not an ad that that inspired you from Mad Men. It's not a typical format. I think what's interesting about the kind of work that you've been doing, it's breaking.
It's culture changing.
Yeah.
You know, it's setting
I wouldn't
cultures.
say culture changing. It's not that big.
It is.
I think it is, though.
I think it is. I mean, it is. It's pushing the kind of work that's coming out of this country for sure. Which I think things like, do you have? If I was not if lah, okay lah. Maybe for me lah, not if.
Okay.
Give me some tips how to be more like Jaz Lee, or the thinking, you know, for all, even in aspiring CDs, ECDs, hungry guys, you know. What?
You're absolutely right. For a person who works in advertising, and I'm sure you guys as well, which is I fucking hate ads. And I think the first question that whenever you review something or I review a piece of work, I think the main question is, who gives a fuck about this piece of work, right?
Why should I care about this?
I think every piece of work we do, regardless whether you're working on Coca-Cola or any brand, I think the competition isn't the opposing brand. The competition is for attention. It's for fucking Neon Cats, K-pop celebrity music videos. It's Donald Trump's tweets and everything. And I think that's always the starting point. Who's going to give a fuck? And if you're not sort of working beyond the advertising mediums, right? Where the world's your playground. This table could be a medium. Anything could be a medium. Space is a medium. I think we're not doing justice to what we do, which is creativity.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
For an industry that talks about creativity, we still limit ourselves by the traditional mediums. And even on the times where we're stuck with doing a film, or let's say we're doing a print ad, it's always how can we do it a little differently or a little more interestingly, right? And it's really just that. It's not a formula to try and do anything superb. It's just make it fucking interesting.
I mean, that's the creative leap lah, from strategy to idea.
Yeah.
You just got, as long as you anchor it back to an idea.
But even
the
strategy, strategy, it's like you get a lot of strategy where it goes, it makes sense, it's logical, but will it allow you to do fucking interesting work? I think that's always the big question that we ask.
Yeah. Okay. So if it doesn't, then what do you do?
We change it. We go back to the drawing board and we flip it around and find the best way to flip it again.
Yeah. So let's say this strategy is great, but you can't come up with a great idea.
Yeah.
You've come up with a great idea. Let's relook at the strategy.
And I'm sure you guys have gone through that when the strategy is so sound, it makes sense, it answers all the client's problems, but you try an idea, it's pretty shit. Try an idea that's done before, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes the problem is client has already bought the strategy. Now you got to come up with the idea.
True. I mean, I'm not saying every brief is going to be great, but I guess that's where a great client relationship comes in. And I think it's
I have to
important.
add on to that.
Yeah.
I think we can always unsell stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's the nature of the industry.
Yeah, ultimately, I at least from what I understand, like client and agency, we ultimately have the same goal.
Yeah.
Like we're sharing the same goal. We're trying to solve the same problem. So the best way wins.
Yep.
It's like being honest lah. Look, I can't crack a great idea based on this strategy. I have cracked a great idea, but we need a different strategy, a different approach.
I don't think the client will ever say no with you coming back with a better idea. Right? In fact, it might be cheaper.
So, the kind of work that you've been putting out, your career has taken a tremendous leap. What does your mom think about this? I mean, she obviously wanted you to be a footballer.
It's a good question because I really still don't think she knows what I do. And it's funny because we'll sit in like my aunties will come over and like ad breaks will happen on TV. She's like, that's my son. My son does that. And it's some fucking shitty ad. And you're just ashamed as fuck. No, that's not me. I swear to God, we do much cooler stuff than that. But then sometimes you tell like your aunties you do advertising, they go, are you the models in them? Right? Are you the talents?
Yeah.
So I don't think she'll understand, but I think she's happy. I think
She's happy you've got money now.
bills are being paid.
Yeah, okay.
Everything is okay.
Yeah, I mean, our parents always ask us what we do in advertising, but I have to say that nobody ever asked whether I'm a model.
Hey, you get that's good, man.
At least did they ask maybe you're a voiceover talent radio star? Not even that.
Not even that.
Oh man.
Top 2 favorite ads. Not done by you, could be done by you. No, actually not done by you, could be
There's so many recent.
up to you.
Whichever
you,
comes to mind.
There's one recent one I saw from Cannes this year that I was fucking jealous by, which was to promote free range and cage free eggs. And
Timer one.
yeah, and what they did was basically we're all into our step counts, right?
Yeah,
So
I
they
know this
decided
one.
to put the chicken
Australia.
step counts on the eggs itself and print it in real time. I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
So jealous.
They attach
ad.
yeah, it was brilliant.
they attach a pedometer to the chicken,
Yeah,
right?
it's
And then
amazing.
printed the steps on the eggs. Yeah, I think it was done in Australia, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember I showed Jarrod. I'm like, oh my god, it is so good.
It's so funny that you would actually share it even if it wasn't an ad.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was amazing. The other one, I mean, I still think it's amazing till today, in an advertising sense as well, is Burger King's Whopper Detour. For me, I think you present that idea to any client or even internally, everyone goes, that's a fucking complicated user experience. You want me to download the app, go to a McDonald's, get a promo, and then have to go to Burger King to redeem that promo. Anyone would have killed it. But I think just how brilliant it was done, I think it was, so jealous.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Notice that he picks up stuff that is non-addy.
Yeah.
Right? I
Yeah.
think that's it kind of portrays
a non-traditional media,
Yeah.
non-traditional forms of communication. But it'd be very hard to campaign this, would it?
But don't you think, I think, for me, the way I see the campaigns have changed. I think traditionally it used to be, you have a big idea, you have your film, your key visual, your radio, and so on and so on, right?
Yeah.
So I think for me now, if you look at campaigns and how they've structured around the world, it's not stuck to that anymore. I think it's no longer 360. It's sometimes just 180 where you have one piece, really amazing piece of activation, and every communication centers around that.
Oh, okay, so the main piece,
Yeah.
and then the rest are support.
Correct.
in a
I don't
sense.
think we're tied anymore to doing that one sort of idea that's
a
translated
funnel.
across.
I think
Yeah.
user behavior is different.
Yeah,
You wake up, you may not see an ad.
correct.
Right,
You may
you-
say a different part of the ad. Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it has to change lah.
I think the common thread I'm finding with like the work that you do and like the work that you like is like all these campaigns, if you want to call it a campaign or this ad stuff, like
Ideas,
it's very ideas. It's very true. It's very honest to how a human receives this information. It's like, yes, you're right. You know, like you're trying to tell people like the Whopper Detour is like you're gonna do this and then this and this and this and this. But actually, what you're doing is giving people a chance to be naughty and mischievous.
exactly.
And that is a great motivator.
Yeah.
I would just go to McDonald's to see it work
Yeah.
and get a free burger.
Exactly.
Right? So I think it's very
Yeah.
honest to how people
Human
behave.
behavior.
Right? Yeah.
Which is great. Okay.
Where do you start off when you get these ideas? Do you start from a human insight or human experience, or just what is the craziest thing we can do? Where do you start?
It's always a human insight. I think a human insight grounds, and I'm sure you guys agree, it grounds all the craziness, right? You can have the wildest ideas or the wildest executions, but as long as it's grounded on a real human insight, right? Or a real human truth that you start from, it will never be just for the sake of a gimmick.
Yeah.
So,
and I think
yeah.
it's got to be honest.
Yeah.
Jumping on that, now that you are ECD at 28, you've had maybe 1 or 2 ECDs prior to this. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
How is your leadership style different, and or how are you taking it different in the next 5-6 years? You know what I mean?
I think because I'm 28, I think it's easy to sort of group me into the snowflake sort of type of
Really?
management style, right? But I mean,
You're a
that's practically-
footballer, what? No way lah.
But I am hard, not on the person, but on the work. And I think Jarrod and I have spoken a lot about this, which is, I think when a lot of people try to be nice, I think when I was becoming a CD and everything, the job was you try to be liked. You try to be nice, so you let a lot of shitty ideas through. Says, it's okay lah, just settle for it. But I find that did more of a disservice to the person, because at the end of the day, when the work comes out, they've got a shit folio, they've got shit work. But I find that when you're really hard on the work and you make them do it again and again, and I never let shit through, And I think at the end of it, they will see the result and sort of see the pride in what they've done. And they'll be far happier in the long run. So for me, it's being hard. I think being hard on the work.
But what if there's a timeline crunch? You know what I mean? Like, okay, it's an idea is needed by 5 o'clock, but the team can't possibly come up with an idea by 5 o'clock.
So every single day, I'm hands-on coming up with ideas with the team.
Yeah.
And I think if I take a long leave, right, and I come back, I haven't been part of the ideation in so long, right, I just feel stupid. You just feel like shit. How do you
so you're very involved in So the team comes up with ideas, you come up with the ideas, and
we have a very small agency, to be very fair. I mean, like in terms of creatives, we've got about 15, 16. So it's very lean. I think Adrian and I still lead our individual accounts, our individual briefs, and etc. In fact, we touch every brief, right? Because it's so small.
Yeah. What do teams feel insecure? I mean, Jaz is really thinking of this. I don't have to try so hard. How do you manage all that?
I don't think you can, to be honest. I think you'll always have people.
My ideas will never be as good as Jaz. I don't want to think of it. You know what I mean? Would they think like that?
But for me, I think we do too much to try and cater, and this is going to be an unpopular opinion.
Yeah, like you try to cushion them.
Yeah, but I think the ones who see the value and the ones who try harder as a result of it, it's like, for example, when it was me and my boss had ideas, I'd better try and beat that.
Yep.
But the ones I think who have that mentality go far. And I think those are the ones you keep and the ones you want to nurture, and because they're there to be nurtured.
Yeah, ultimately it's attitude, right? The I'll try anything. I'll work my ass off just to be better than Jaz.
I think one of the chief creative officers in Singapore, Ogilvy, and I think when I first started becoming a CD in Ogilvy, I was like, fuck, how do I inspire the creatives? They feel really down. And he says, you will never inspire creatives who don't want to be inspired, and when it's not there in the first place. So stop trying.
It's my saying.
Yeah. Jarrod has a saying. Jarrod goes, you can bring the donkey to the pond, but you can't make the donkey drink, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a horse variation.
Yeah.
I didn't call anybody donkeys, bro. Hey.
No. But speaking of like inspiring people, now I think it's time we talk about Cadbury's flags of generosity, because that was a very inspiring thing during a very tough time in the world, right? Could you explain that to the listeners?
So I think for those in Malaysia, remember during COVID, there was a lot of white flags I think people put up. I think
The white flag movement.
where everyone was putting on white flags. And I think white flags, obviously, symbolically, it's surrender, right?
Yeah.
And I think that was the state of things that were happening, where people were putting out white flags for basic needs. And that's the help they needed, right? So for us as a brand, Cadbury, I think it was all about generosity. Cadbury is a brand because of its founder and the glass and a half of milk that they put inside every bar. So as a brand that stands for generosity, it was only right that you had to do something, I think, at a time like that. So I think the idea started where we said, since white flags represented those who needed help, what if purple represented those who wanted to help? So from there, I think the idea gave birth, and all you do is put a purple flag up, and obviously we'll pick up necessities and then we'll deliver to the white flag houses. So it was a really simple construct of that.
Yeah. I think it's very insightful also, because at the time, there were people who were willing to help, but they were not allowed to travel. Like
There was a 10-kilometer radius,
In Malaysia, it was like we've gone through phases of like total lockdown, right? Yeah. So
I think it's very powerful for a brand to start doing stuff like this. I think and it, when tying it back to what the brand believes, I think it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing that you can do.
and rightfully won a goal. Was it goal?
Outdoor Lion, if I'm not mistaken, right? Okay, nice. And I think I saw it on your IG or somewhere that you were there. You were actually there.
I went there.
Tell us about that feeling. Is that your first time?
It was my first, and it was fucking expensive, I'll tell you that.
Company never pay.
Obviously, like
A bit lah.
But have to
Alcohol,
spend, shopping.
alcohol and never pay. But it was my first time at Cannes. I think since young, we've all looked up to Cannes as like the fucking
Holy grail
Oscars of
lah.
advertising, right?
Yeah.
You get there, and my God, it is as inspiring as it seems to be from the outside, right? You meet your fucking advertising heroes, you go and fanboy over them, and then the work and the talks. You had celebrities, Ryan Reynolds was there, and
Who's
just-
an ad man? Who's also an ad man now?
So going is fine, but when they tell you, I remember, so what they do in Cannes is every day is a different category. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is a different category, right?
Yeah.
So you arrive on like say a Saturday or Sunday, and outdoor was a Monday. And they tell you a day before whether you've won something on stage or not. And only gold gets to go up on stage. So we were told on a Sunday that you had won a gold, so you're going up on stage tomorrow. My God, I was in Nice, I remember, before I went to Cannes. I literally broke down in the middle of the street and I fucking teared my eyes out, right? That was what you've been dreaming of since you were young, right?
Yeah.
Bronze, silver, fine, but fuck, gold.
Yeah. And probably like people in Nice, French people like, wow, he must find our place very beautiful. With no context, like, oh, I guess he loves France.
That's why it's called Nice.
And I fucking cried, and my can started the first day with a fucking gold lion. Then after that, it didn't feel so on, huh? Like, I remember you go to the after party, right?
Yeah.
So you take the gold.
Yeah. Walk
Talking
around.
to girls, you know, you put the gold on the table. Then I'll never forget this, right? Talking to girls, oh, you gold, congrats, amazing. And some fucker puts his Grand Prix on the table. I take it back and you fuck off. I'll never forget that. It was 2 Grand Prix.
Was it humbling? Was it a humbling
It
experience?
was, yeah. So then after that, I remember it was the second or third day, we had won a silver for Gamer Asylum. And I tell you, winning a silver while you're at Cannes feels like shit. Because you don't get to go up on stage.
Yeah.
Your name pops up there for about, 5 seconds on the screen? Yeah, Gamer Asylum, silver, then move on.
Right.
It made you feel so shit to win a silver, you know.
Yeah, you don't get to be seen or like, you know, like people don't, okay, I read the text, that's it, next.
I'm out.
Next.
I think it sucks even more because first day you win so high.
Yeah.
And then after that, then what?
Yeah.
How long were you there?
I was there for a week. Funny story, Friday, Cannes ended. My flight was at 7 a.m. on Saturday. I partied till, so you have to go from from Cannes to Nice airport, which is about an hour and a half drive. I partied till 3 in the morning. I came back, so I had my driver was supposed to pick me up at 4 to go to the airport. I woke up at 7, missed my flight, got to Nice, and they said there's no more flights for the week.
Oh.
That's the best thing ever.
I said, fuck. And then after that, oddly, just one person cancelled. So I made it to, I got a spot in there. So the next day, it was the next flight, the next day, same time. So after that, I went to the gate. Then they said, sorry, there has been, something's going on. There's a fuel problem. So the flight's delayed. And I had a transit from London at 11 a.m. So the flight delayed till 8:30. So if I miss this fucking, I missed the London flight.
Yeah.
So I managed to get on the fucking flight, get to London, and I made it by 1 minute to the fucking London flight. I came back, my lion was my luggage.
Yeah.
My luggage was lost.
Oh,
Yeah.
God. The lion missing.
I was...
of all the things, of all the flights.
A week later, they called me and they said, we found your luggage in London, in Heathrow. We are coming back with it.
So for 1 week, you like your balls up your throat.
The first week, Cadbury had a party plan, Ogilvy.
And they all want to see the lion.
There was no lion.
Okay. But okay, I have to say, like, that is truly a gold lion story. Okay?
Oh, man.
I mean, it's not a Grand Prix story, but it's gold.
What a story. What a story.
Incredible, man. Oh my God.
What a story. Damn nice. Which brings us to the next thing. Winning big at Cannes.
Internationally.
Internationally. It picked up. Where else did it pick up?
Picked up practically every show,
Every show.
except for and even every show.
Every
Picked up
show.
at every show.
I remember it did not pick up big at Canchills.
It did not pick up anything.
Did
at Chills.
Oh, serious.
I think it made one merit in I forgot which category, but there was no shortlist, no nothing.
What do you think about that?
I think it's fucked up. I mean, that's the best way I could say it, right? I mean, I think the best way I put it, I felt betrayed. I think for a piece that I find that every piece that goes out to any country in any show that wins represents the country, and a piece that represented the country so well, and to come back and have it win, you know what? I would have been happy with to be celebrated as a silver or a bronze. It had no shortlist, maybe I forgot one merit, and it was just I felt betrayed.
Do you think, right? I'm just speculating, right? Do you think it's I forgot what the fable was, but you know, like when you stand so close to the elephant and you don't know it's an elephant, right? Only when you stand far away you realize, wow, it's a big elephant, right? So it's like internationally, you look at this thing the Cadbury has done in Malaysia, you go like, wow, this is amazing. But because we are in Malaysia, you feel like, okay, it's just, you know what I mean? It's, you see it differently. Do you think that's the case?
I don't think so. I think a powerful idea is a powerful idea, and that's universal across.
True.
But it should come from the judges, how the judges would see it, you know. It's hard to explain it if you are the culprit.
Yeah.
But you must have gotten some feedback from the jury president, the creative
I mean,
chairman.
let's pull it out on the table, right? I mean, let's not filter it. I mean, obviously, the judges thought it was a scam, right?
Yeah.
And I think it was a conscious decision with the clients to go unbranded on a piece. So I completely understand the fact, right, that it was a decision. We had a long debate about whether it's opportunistic to put a brand, or is it enough, or to put our logo, is it enough to put a color of our piece, right? And the clients put a lot of money behind it, and obviously decided to go unbranded. One of the feedback I got, I won't name who, was they showed me a press release of the piece of work, Purple Flags. And they said, we looked at this press release and we didn't see Cadbury, so we felt that Cadbury just took that idea and put the logo on it. So I said, so you showed me a press release of my work and said I copied my work.
Yeah.
Which I thought was fucked up. But
Yeah.
in any case, I think the first rule as a jury, right, if you think it's a scam, that's why it's a client contact there, there's an agency contact there. But you judge always the work in front of you, regardless of whether you think it's a scam or it's not.
Yeah.
If you feel it's a scam, you call the client contact and you call the agency contact.
Actually, as a jury, if you feel it's a scam, it's your job to ask the
Moderator.
the moderator to check. It's the event's responsibility to do the background checks, ma.
And our job is to judge the work in front of us.
Yeah,
as an idea.
the due diligence doesn't fall, burden of due diligence doesn't fall on you, right? You judge the work.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to be honest, I mean, no one from the client side was called. No one from the agency side was called. So someone obviously made the decision themselves that it was a piece of scam. And
It's not someone. I mean, Kanchil has many different juries.
Yeah.
So you could say it was across all juries.
yeah.
You know, I mean, it's not one person.
Yeah. So I wish some level of due diligence was made, and I would have been happy if it was checked and they didn't buy it or they didn't believe it and made a decision. But to do it without checking or anything, I think was just pure, I think, for me, in my case, just unacceptable.
I think you need to write another letter. What's fucked up about it?
I did write one though.
Oh, you did,
Yeah.
Okay.
Would you say that is the in your career, would that be like the worst experience? Or do you have one worse?
Worser.
There was, I mean, obviously, I think when I was 20 years old, I wrote a spot Petronas Rubber Boy. I don't know if you guys remember it.
Yeah.
Obviously, it ran Chinese New Year, January, and obviously it got shortlisted at Cannes, right? And I was 20, and obviously this film director came out and one of the film directors I was pitching for the job came out and accused her of plagiarism. I think that fucking whole experience made me grow the fuck up, right? It made you realize how toxic this industry is. Because firstly, the piece ran in January. Only when it got shortlisted at Cannes, suddenly you come out and call it plagiarism. It went viral for a good 6 months.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
The film director was
Yeah.
a bit upset.
And I think what I realized was no one's your ally because no one fact checked, no one asked any questions, and they just jumped in and basically it was a David versus Goliath, right? It was Leo Burnett who was the big guns, and then it was the director who was a pregnant lady that she said was her narrative, right? And being abused and used by a big agency. And no one came and asked, well, what's the real story? Everyone just jumped in and basically kind of accused you. And to see your own colleagues, to see your own peers in the industry who very well know the process of how jobs are awarded, film briefs are pitched and everything, for you to still jump in and just kill one another, I think that was my first experience of being fucked over, I think. And I think Flags, I was far more grown up already, and you were used to it already, so you knew what to expect.
Did that's a harsh thing to go through. Like, and as you mentioned, I guess I've heard stories of like the toxicity as well. As a leader now, is that something you actively try to curb?
Yes, no bullshit. And I think that's part of the idea of being hard, right? I'd rather you hate me for being me than you trying to like me for someone I'm trying to be and trying to be to impress you. That's for me how I always operate. What you see is what you get.
Yeah. No bullshit, just honesty kind of. Yeah, I think so. Because if I guess maybe it's an Asian culture. Is like sometimes we like in front of your face we say nice things, but behind your back we talk shit a lot, right? Maybe it's an Asian thing. I'm not sure, but it's just a thing.
It's a human thing.
Yeah.
It's a human thing. But I think the South Americans, they do it well. When they go overseas and when they're challenging on a global level, they support one another.
They rally one another.
Yeah, they rally one another, and I think I'm thinking what to say lah.
No, but I think it's very interesting that these two experiences that you brought up, the rubber boy, I think everybody knows, and this the flags of generosity lah. It must be preparing you for something greater to come. I mean, very early in your career, you already.
I hope it's not another controversy though.
No, if it is, I really believe there is something greater planned. It can't be just
this time you can put your Grand Prix on the table.
But even I remember, I obviously was not happy, and I made it clear that I wasn't happy about this whole Kanchil situation. Right? I remember some of the remarks was, he's got a goal at Cannes already. Why is he whining about Kanchils? But I don't think it's about
That's
the
not the
Kanchils.
point.
It really isn't the point, right? It's
No, I don't think Malaysians would think like that. I like to think I like to think we celebrated good work.
But
I saw a lot of Facebook posts.
Missile car. Remember Missile car from JWT? It won the Grand Prix. And it won here also as well.
Yeah.
No, but I think
So you
I
can't
think,
say that,
Yeah,
you
so
know?
I think it's clear also in 2022, 2023. Feels like a different time that we're celebrating different type of.
I think for me, the sentiment on the ground was people didn't think that Ogilvy came up with the idea. The sentiment was Terata or whatever that company was came up with the idea, and Ogilvy built the digital platform.
And I can see that because of the whole unbranded nature of it. Yeah. So,
that was it.
But I wish, again, for a big brand, I guess you wouldn't take. I guess I'd be stupid, for example, to take someone's idea and just slap my own brand's logo on it.
Yes, you know what? We've all done it. Maybe I've also done it in the past. You know what I mean? So we think that that's what you did, based on what I've done in the past.
Great,
And all of us.
And I wish there was just checks. That's why I say I wish there was a due diligence check on that piece of work or the legitimacy of the work. But there was no checks, no nothing. And another piece was obviously Gamer Asylum that got no shortlist as well in Kanchils. These are two pieces that swooped every award show in the world.
Gamer Asylum, I think, I just speak from my limited perspective. Because that one, was it a Singapore idea? Was it a Malaysia idea? You know what I mean?
But then again, if it's submitted by I'm taking out money to spend, and then you there telling me, come from where? Where? Don't make sense lah.
Yeah.
But I believe the rule is there has to be a key creative who was part of the project from the country.
Yeah.
So again, there was no rule checks, but probably shouldn't name the other piece of work that was.
I mean, all these things, like, it happens, right? It happens, but at least here at the podcast, it's good to talk about things like this, man. I'm so glad you
I
brought
think
it.
it's healthy.
You bring it to the table because the hope at the end of the day, we are in the same industry. We love creative stuff. We love things that like make us go like, damn, I want to do that, right? Hopefully, things will be better.
Yeah.
I think it's good not to hide these things and like pretend like, oh, it's okay, it's okay. It's not, right? Sometimes it's not.
I think it's good. It's good that you're coming here. You're talking about this one here.
I've come to terms with it, to be honest. I mean, I just find that we should support each other a lot more, especially when we represent each other in the global stage, right? And honestly, when you see, and I'm sure you guys feel the same way, you see another agency win a Lion or any other regional award or international award, right? You go, fuck. That pushes you with some sort of jealousy and motivation to try and beat that, right?
Yep.
Instead of trying to bring it down, why not just try and beat it?
I do think we support each other lah. It's just that I think the sentiment on the ground was Ogilvy hijacking another person's idea. Whether true or not, we're not here to talk about that lah. But I thought there was a sentiment on the ground at the time.
Then check.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You're just a phone call away from finding out.
Yeah.
You know, it is. I'm so sorry it happened. So sorry it happened. But
from a person who's not been in this industry,
yeah.
it sounds lopsided, no?
It does. It does.
sounds toxic.
It does, man.
I was just telling Jarrod the other day. I've won. So every award, I've never won a gold at Kanchals.
Hey bro, same bro. Same.
Never.
Well,
Maybe this year.
okay, so here's the thing. The next time you win a goal at Kanchals, you're coming back to the podcast.
Yeah,
Okay.
with it.
Yeah, with the goal.
You can bring it.
Yeah, you
No
yeah.
titanium, right?
We don't mind if you don't bring the goal lion. The Kanchal you bring.
That would mean a lot more.
Yeah. So we have to kind of wrap up the podcast now, you know, and like a fun question that we like to ask is if you could, and it's quite actually Ed, you pointed out some episodes ago, or maybe in the future episode, where like you say it's a very Malaysian question actually. We like to ask people, you eat already, you makan, right? So the question is, if you can have dinner or you can share a meal with someone, whoever it is, whether they're from the industry or not from the industry, who would it be?
In the industry, for sure. No, as in for sure someone in the industry, David Droga. He's my ultimate fucking hero in just advertising and in life. And because when I came in as a 19-year-old and obviously becoming who I was quite young, there was a lot of remarks about whether I could do it and whether I was too young.
Yeah.
And obviously no one respected you because, I mean, to be fair, who the fuck are you, right? You come in 3 years, you become a CD and it's like, I wouldn't respect you either. But I think, right, it's true. But then there's
Jess.
there's David Droga, who comes in at ECD at 21.
Yeah.
That's
And I think 28, he was global CCO of,
Yeah.
was it Saatchi?
Yeah.
It was just a meteoric
in London,
rise.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, honestly, my whole career, I think at the start of my career especially, I said, if that man can do it, I can.
Yeah.
And that was like the sort of the role model you look forward to.
Did you ever get to meet him?
He was at Cannes
Yeah.
last year and I was there. I literally went around trying to find him because everyone's David Droga's here. I saw stories.
Yeah.
I went there, he was gone. Didn't get to find him.
That's amazing. Can I just backtrack? Who introduced you to awards? Who introduced you to great work? It's not Madman.
James. But I tell you what made me chase awards at a young age. It's not so much the glamour. I think it's the standard of work that you're allowed to do and you should be doing, right? Yeah. No one really looks at awards for the medal itself, right? It really is the standard of work you get to do, to the validation that you're doing one of the best pieces of work in the world, right? And to compete there. And the other thing was because I was fucking broke. And someone asked me, like I asked someone actually, how do I get paid faster and get promoted faster? They said, win awards. So I said, oh, okay. Yeah. So then that was it.
Then I'll win the best award, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so it was.
So for our listeners out there, for the young ones or maybe the old ones who want to make
the
more
old
money-
young ones.
Oh,
Oh,
old young ones. That's your career path, lah. You know.
Yeah.
Great work.
You can be that hungry. You know, you can There's no better example than Jaz Lee.
Yeah.
Locally.
Yeah.
I feel like it's very inspiring, man. Like, thank you so much for joining us on this podcast. We definitely we'll make a deal now. Gold Kanchil,
He's coming back.
he's coming back.
Or if we get Droga on the show, you're coming back also, okay?
Can I interview him?
Sure, bro.
But you have to put your 2 Grand Prix hills. So
No. That's not necessary. I think
I think he's got about 17 Grand Prix. Yeah.
He probably has lost count.
he's got about there.
you're actually counting.
He's got more Grand Prix than I think we have.
Yeah. So thank you so much, man.
Thanks so much, man.
Thank you so much.
It's very inspiring, and the next time, if anyone calls you an arrogant person, no, you're just an ambitious person.
Ambitious, dude.
You went for it, you got it, and the night is still young. You know.
Yeah.
There's so much. I can't ads right. It's just prepping you for something bigger, and we can't wait for that to happen.
To use
man.
that analogy, if you say now is the Nike, wait till the day comes.
Yeah.
If you want to use that, if you go along with that analogy.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for having me. It's been fun.
Don't skip the ad.
Oh man, I hope you guys enjoyed that episode, lah.
Yeah, I think some of them may have the notepad open or
Yeah.
they're already dear, don't skip the ad. I have just heard because what he say, okay, let's be honest, some may take an issue like, oh, we want to find out more, we want to clarify certain things, right? We welcome that. I mean, we happily want to hear every side of the story.
Yeah.
This one was definitely a very, very interesting and very, very real.
Very real conversation we had with him, and it might push some buttons. I don't know, but I hope it's a good one.
Yeah, but definitely we really like this episode. We hope you do too.
Stay up to date on our socials.
Stay friends, guys. It's at DSTA Podcast, Instagram, TikTok. Oh, one last thing.
Yep.
If you got suggestions for stingers, we're still looking.
We're still looking.
Please. If not, Jarrod's going to make me write 200 more. I can't do it anymore. Don't skip the word. I have no more. Please write us. In the meantime,
Have a great weekend, guys. This has been an episode of
Don't skip the ad.